Okay, I just have to say that this class is only for registered students. If you're not registered, you need to be inshallah quiet. So give a space to other students who are registered to participate and ask questions. Inshallah, where are you going? Sit down, you are registered. If you're not, you consider yourself registered. Okay. Nobody's supposed to leave. I'm just saying, give space to students who are registered. Okay guys, so we're going to Alhamdulillah wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna sayyidina Mawlana Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Inshallah, today we're going to discuss hadith number 24. Yeah, who's supposed to read English today? Is Ishtiyaq here today? No? Is supposed to be here. Okay, is someone ready to volunteer and do that job? Come in, don't be shy. Come in, please. Yeah, what's up? Do you know what the hadith is? You didn't have to see it and just take on the mic. Why are we shy? Aren't you a teacher? Take a mic and let's have a seat. This guy's a teacher and he leads Tarawih every year, mashallah. You're not like he's shy. I mean, there's another one here if you need a longer cable or something. If that's more comfortable, it's up to you. Just need to turn it on, right? So the hadith today is long. Actually, I was planning to have the projector up and put the hadith on the projector in English, but we just didn't do it for no reason. I don't have excuse, but inshallah maybe next time we can do that. By the way, last time I didn't come because I was really, really sick, and what I found after my wife as well got sick is that she had COVID. This means they have COVID as well, right? It means I gave it to her and they have COVID. Are you guys scared? I'm not scared. Yeah. I was so sick. I couldn't even stand up, really. I don't know, this new brain is so difficult. It makes you ache, like your whole body's aching. And then severe headaches, and it's not comfortable at all. Like hadith number 21. But now I'm recovered, right? Alhamdulillah, don't worry, you don't have to worry about sickness from me or anything. How's it going? What about attendance? Yep. One day? Okay, عن أبي ذر الغفاري رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فيما يرويه عن ربه عز وجل أنه قال. This is going to be the first hadith Qudsi that we're having in this series. The first hadith Qudsi. So we're going to study today the main point that we're going to learn today as one of the foundations of Mustalah al-Hadith, Hadith terminology, Mustalah al-Hadith. You're going to know the difference between Hadith Qudsi, Hadith Nabawi, and Quran. We're going to know the difference today, right? So this is the first one. And SubhanAllah, Abdullah Khawaja kept encouraging people to come because it's the first Qudsi Hadith, but he himself didn't come. It's okay to don't read that to Abdullah because he's a good student. عن أبي ذر رضي الله عنه عن النبي كما يروي عن ربه عز وجل أنه قال يا عبادي إني حرمت الظلم على نفسي وجعلته بينكم محرما فلا تظلموا يا عبادي كلكم ضال إلا من هديته فاستهدوني أهدكم يا عبادي كلكم جائع إلا من أطعمته فاستطعموني أطعمكم يا عبادي كلكم عار إلا من كسوت فاستكسوني أكسكم يا عبادي إنكم تخطئون بالليل والنهار وأنا أغفر الذنوب جميعا فاستغفروني أغفر لكم يا عبادي إنكم لن تبلغوا ضري فتضروني ولن تبلغوا نفعي فتنفعوني. يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم كانوا على أتقى قلب رجل واحد منكم ما زاد ذلك في ملكي شيئا. يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم كانوا على أفجر قلب رجل واحد منكم ما نقص ذلك من ملكي شيئا. يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم قاموا في صعيد واحد فسألوني فأعطيت كل واحد مسألة ما نقص ذلك مما عندي إلا كما ينقص المخيط إذا أدخل البحر. يا عبادي إنما هي أعمالكم أحصيها لكم ثم أوفيكم إياها فمن وجد خيرا فليحمد الله ومن وجد غير ذلك فلا يلومن إلا نفسه. So, did you understand anything today? That's the class today. And I like the class is going to be in Arabic tonight. So I don't know why I came today. So sorry guys. Hadith is too long today, and it's going to take a long time for you to memorize. It's a difficult hadith to memorize. It's a beautiful hadith. It has to do a lot with your tazkiyah and your spirituality and purification that we always speak about. As we said before, this series that we're trying to study is not only about usul al-fiqh or hadith terminology or tazkiyah. It combines all the principles of Islam as Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala intended when he gathered these 42 ahadith. That's important for you to benefit from every single hadith, because every hadith covers one part of your religion. Today we're going to cover two parts. Number one is something that's technical about the divine hadith and it's the difference between it and Quran, and something that's very spiritual about the hadith itself and the topic it covers, or the topics that it covers. I'm not going to cover every single part of the hadith. You can read it on your own, but I'm going to make some comments along the way, inshallah ta'ala. We're going to have half of the hadith, inshallah ta'ala, reading the English translation to us. Please listen attentively, and then we're going to move on, inshallah. See that.
Abu Dharr al-Ghifari reported that the Prophet ﷺ narrated from his Lord, the Blessed and Exalted, that he said, O my servants, I have forbidden oppression for myself, and I have made it forbidden amongst you. So do not oppress one another. O my servants, all of you are astray except those whom I have guided. So seek guidance from me, and I shall guide you. O my servants, all of you are hungry except those whom I have fed. So seek food from me, and I shall feed you. O my servants, all of you are naked except those whom I have clothed. So seek clothing from me.
All you're naked means what? What do you think all you're naked? What do you understand from this?
Like before we were naked, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the nakedness after Adam is like something.
Like Adam alayhi salam, exactly. Adam was created naked, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala covered him. When you were born naked, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you rizq, and He gave you something to cover yourself up. And the other meaning of nakedness here in this hadith is spiritual. Like when you make sins, you basically uncover yourself. You're exposed to Allah's wrath and Allah's anger, and then when you repent, you're covered again. So that's the meaning of naked, because what do you mean? Oh, you're naked. So that's the meaning of it, right?
So seek clothing from me, and I shall clothe you. O my servants, you commit sins by night and by day, and I forgive all sins. So seek forgiveness from me, and I shall forgive you. O my servants, you will never be able to do anything that would harm me or benefit me. O my servants, if the first of you, the last of you, the humans among you, and the jinn among you, all had the heart of the individual with the most taqwa amongst you, that would not increase my dominion in any way. O my servants, if the first of you, the last of you, the humans among you, and the jinn among you, all had the heart of the most evil person amongst you, that would not decrease my dominion in any way.
It's like when you hear what the Prophet's saying, what do you feel? You feel La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There's no power or mighty except through Allah. It's like I'm nothing. That's basically what the hadith is teaching us today. So what are we going to learn today? Don't be offended. We're nothing. In the meaning kingdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're nothing. Literally. That's what you need to understand. If you think that if you did this class and thinking you're something, you failed. Really, spiritually. Because Allah is something and you're something. No, you're not. You're nothing. Allah is everything. We are nothing. Allah created us and He moves us. And He knows what's happening in Gaza today. He knows what's happening in your private life. He knows what's happening in my life. And He knows what's happening right now. He knows what's inside of your heart, which I will see. And you might not understand about yourself. He knows it. So you need to understand this. That's all what you will understand. If you study a book like Manazil al-Sa'ilin, you know Manazil al-Sa'ilin by Imam al-Harawi, for example. That's one of the most famous books of Tazkiyah. Try to look it up. Manazil al-Sa'ilin. Manazil al-Sa'ilin by Imam al-Harawi. The conclusion of the entire book, our Sheikhs used to tell us this. When they explain this book to us in many halaqats, in many classes, they tell us every class the benefits of this book. What you're learning is La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That's what you're learning. And then they word it in another way and say, لا يكون في كون الله إلا ما أراد. Nothing takes place in Allah's world, in Allah's kingdom, except to what Allah allows, what Allah wants to happen. That's the conclusion of your tazkiyah. Once you understand this, now you have tazkiyah. If you don't understand this, there's a problem with your tazkiyah and your purification. So that's what you feel from the beauty of this hadith. You have no power except through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if all of us were sinners, that wouldn't harm Him. If all of us were the most righteous, that wouldn't benefit Him, because He has the angels already. He doesn't need us anyways. So the fact that I'm here in the masjid teaching, or you're here to learn, you're here to benefit yourself. And I'm here to benefit myself. Of course, because I'm paid for this anyways. So I'm here to benefit myself, because it's my job, and spiritually as well. But you're here without paying anything or being paid. But you're here only to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not for any other reason. So inshallah, this time is going to be your scale of hasanat, not to benefit Allah, but to benefit you. Maybe this 45 minutes you're spending, or an hour you're spending in the masjid every week to learn something, is what's going to save you on the day of judgment. You don't know. But it's not going to benefit Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is the conclusion of the entire hadith.
O my servants, if the first of you, the last of you, the humans among you, and the jinn among you, were all to stand together at once and ask of me, and I were to give everyone what he requested, that would not decrease what I possess, except what is decreased from the ocean when a needle is dipped into it. O my servants, it is only your deeds for which I will hold you to account, and for which I shall recompense you. Thus, whoever finds good, then let him praise Allah, and whoever finds other than that, then let him blame none but himself. Reported by Muslim.
Barakallahu feek, jazakallah khair. Beautiful. So we're going to talk now about Hadith Qudsi. Hadith Qudsi, we have two opinions amongst the scholars on its definition. You know, the Quran is the word of Allah, right? It's not the word of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No, it was the word of Allah. How is it the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We can explain this if we have time. The different opinions between the Sunnah and the Mu'tazila, but you really don't need to know this. All what you need to know is the Quran is the word of Allah. Allah spoke. Allah said those words. This Quran, Allah said these words. Allah said these letters in a way that's befitting, that's fitting, most fitting to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. That fits His majesty, right? But He spoke, it's His word. Did He create it, or He actually spoke these words? No, He spoke these words. That's what Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah believe. It's a little bit confusing if you want to read what Mu'tazila said about it, but what I'm telling you briefly is Allah spoke in a way that fits His majesty, and that's the Quran that we have with us today. It's preserved through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You did not preserve the Quran. When you memorize the Quran, mashallah, a lot of kuffar here, it doesn't mean that you are preserving the Quran. Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran to the books to other nations, He said, بِمَسْ تُحْفِظُوا مِنْ كِتَابِ اللَّهِ إِسْتُحْفِظُوا Ist. When you have the ist, alif, sin, ta, that means requesting something. Like ghufran is forgiveness, right? Ghufran is forgiveness. Istighfar means what? To seek forgiveness, right? Right? So Ghufran, forgiveness. Istighfar is to seek forgiveness. Hifz is to preserve or memorize. Istahfadha is to ask someone to preserve something. So when Allah revealed the other heavenly books to other nations, He said, بِمَا اسْتُحْفِظُوا مِنْ كِتَابِ اللَّهِ وَكَانُوا عَلَيْهِ شُهَدَاءَ. They were asked by Allah to preserve their books. But for us, about the Quran, He said, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. What surah is this? Hijr. Alhamdulillah, right? And Hijr. So Allah said that He is going to preserve the Quran, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So it's the word of Allah that He said with letters and words that He actually spoke, subhanahu wa ta'ala, is what we believe. And that's, the Quran is His word and He's preserving it. Khalas? That's what you're supposed to believe about the Quran. Now, what about the Hadith Qudsi? So the Quran is the actual words of Allah, the meaning and the words are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Hadith al-Qudsi, we have two different opinions. The first opinion says it's exactly like the Quran. The meaning and the words are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the first opinion. Do you agree with this opinion? The Hadith Qudsi, the first opinion. What is the difference between Hadith Qudsi and Quran? No difference. Hadith Qudsi and Quran, both of them, the words and the meaning are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you agree on this? We can discuss it. Do you guys agree? Why don't you agree? Yes?
Because there's that hadith about the reward for reading the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the same reward for Hadith Qudsi.
That's one of the main differences. When you read, exactly, thank you Ahmed. So when you read Quran, Alif Lam Mim, 30 hasanat. Alif Lam Mim, 3 letters, 30 hasanat. That doesn't exist when Allah, when it comes to, it doesn't apply when it comes to the Hadith Qudsi. That's one of the main differences. But even if you agreed that the Quran and Hadith Qudsi are the same, that would mean that Hadith Qudsi is higher than the Quran in its isnad. What is the meaning of isnad? For example, quickly, between me and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, يعني, forget about me, between my Shaykh and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he has 27 people between him and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he memorized the Quran, took the Ijaza from his Shaykh, and his Shaykh took it from his Shaykh, and his Shaykh took it from his Shaykh, up to the Tabi'un, and then the Tabi'i took the Quran from the Sahabi, and the Sahabi took it from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So my Shaykh is number 27. You want to look him up? His name is Shaykh Ahmad Hamid Al-Ta'ima. That's my Shaykh in the Quran. Another Shaykh, Hassanin Jibreel, my Shaykh in the Quran. Go look him up. Go look him up. Good for you to know these people. Sheikh Hassanin Jibreel, Sheikh Ahmad Hamid Al-Ta'ima. These are very big names in the Quran actually. Right? So when I take my Ijaza, when I took it from my Shaykh, I'm number 28. I'm number 28. So who is higher than the other? Me or my Shaykh? My Shaykh is higher because he's closer to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How did Rasulullah receive the Quran? Through Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam. So there is a mediator here. There is a wasita. Somebody in the middle between Rasulullah and the Quran. But it's not mentioned when it comes to the Hadith Qudsi. Because Rasulullah Hadith Qudsi, he said what? He said, قال الله عز وجل. Allah said. Not Jibreel said, Allah said something. He took the words immediately from Allah. So if we agreed that the Hadith Qudsi, the word itself is from Allah, this means it's higher in isnad, in ranks than the Quran. That's impossible. It can't be higher than the Quran. So it is. Pizza is here? Okay, Jazakallah khair. Pizza is here? So you were given the pizza. Yeah, I was just saying where's Abdullah. MashaAllah. Okay. So we have two opinions. Right? We cannot neglect one of them. So the first opinion says that the Quran and the Hadith Qudsi, both of them, the words and the meaning are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the second opinion is obviously the meaning is from Allah, but Rasulullah put in his own words sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Again, what is the difference between Hadith Qudsi and Hadith Nabawi then? Right? So it's a different of opinions that you have to خلاص. Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about the Quran, He said what? قُلْ نَزَّلَهُ رُوحُ الْقُدُسِ مِنْ رَبِّكَ. روح القدس. Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam was in the middle when it comes to the Quran. But Allah did not say this about the Hadith Qudsi. So the Hadith Qudsi is from Allah. This means there is no Ruh al-Qudus and it's higher than the Quran. Impossible. Allah said again about the Quran, نَزَلَ بِهُ الرُّوحُ الْأَمِينَ. The honest spirit. Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam. عَلَى قَلْبِكَ. He revealed in your heart, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, speaking about the Quran. There is a mediator here. Okay, so the second opinion that we think it's stronger, but Allah knows best, right? The opinion that we think is stronger, you can believe whatever you want, we have two different opinions. But we believe the strongest opinion is the Quran, words and meaning is from Allah. Hadith Qudsi, words are from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the meaning is from Allah Azza wa Jalla. Now, what are the differences between Quran and Hadith Qudsi? We have 8 differences. 8 differences between Quran and Hadith Qudsi. Number 1. Al-Quran يُتَعَبَّدُ بِتِلَاوَتِهِ. The meaning of يُتَعَبَّدُ بِتِلَاوَتِهِ is what Ahmad mentioned, what Ahmad Sa'ad mentioned. Is that you can read the Quran as a form of ibadah and you have certain amount of rewards. خلاص؟ Alif Lam Mim, 3 letters, every letter is 10 hasanat. 3 letters, every letter is 10 hasanat, right? But you don't have this in the Hadith Qudsi. So that's number 1. Reading the Quran is a form of ibadah. You know, actually our sheikhs taught us that you should have your wird from the Quran and your word from the Hadith. You know, how did we read the Ijazat in Bukhari and Muslim? We memorized them. We memorized 20 pages every day. We were living at the masjid with the sheikhs. I'm going to mention some sheikhs, and by the way, the sheikhs I'm going to mention their names now, guess what? All of them are Salafi sheikhs. Because they always criticize Salafi people, right? Doesn't mean I hate them. Some of my sheikhs were Salafis. The sheikh he gave me the Ijazat in Bukhari and Muslim is Sheikh Wahid Abdul Salam Bali, one of the leading Salafi figures in Egypt. See, I don't hate them, but I criticize their methodology. Sheikh Wahid Abdul Salam Bali. We lived with him in the masjid. We used to have Sheikh Hisham al-Biyali comes to us at the masjid every week once to give us a lecture about what we have memorized. You know, and other Salafi sheikhs. The students of the Sheikh Wahid and Sheikh Mustafa al-Adami, I'm just mentioning some Salafi figures here. I couldn't imagine myself doing this. But that's what happened. Okay? Just to tell you that I don't hate Salafi. But I criticize their methodology, right? So Sheikh Mustafa al-Adawi's students, they used to teach us. We had over 200 students in the masjid. The masjid was 5 floors. And we had beds and mattresses to sleep on. We used to live at the masjid. You live there and you memorize every day 20 pages. Every day 20 pages. Not Quran, a hadith. It's incredibly hard and you cannot be admitted to this class unless you're a hafiz of the Quran first. If you say I'm hafiz, okay, come to me, I'm a hafiz. Okay, I need to test you, right? What do you mean I'm a hafiz? How many people apply for positions and they're not qualified? I'm a hafiz, you're not. Let me test you. And then when you pass this test, you memorize the hadith. At the end of the week, you have to review all that you've memorized throughout the week. 20 pages every day. And the book that we memorized, it's called Al-Jam' Bayna As-Sahihayn by Sheikh Yahya ibn Abd al-Aziz al-Yahya. Another Salafi Sheikh. The other Sheikh who gave me the Ijaza in Tirmidhi and Nasa'i and Abu Dawood and the books of Sunnah, Sheikh Hamid Akram al-Bukhari. Salafi, Saudi, from Saudi. Abdullah Nadi al-Mikhlafi. All these are my sheikhs. And I respect them. And they're Salafi sheikhs. So when you find me talking about Salafi, which I don't need to say this by the way, because I really don't care. But I'm telling you this, don't think I hate Salafis. But I will continue to speak about their ideology and their methodology because they're destroying things. But some of my sheikhs were Salafis. I kiss their hands. Right? And
and respect them. And I would be honored to carry their shoes because they're scholars. Salafi scholars, so what's wrong? Right? You get it, right? So they taught us what? You have a word of the Quran, you also should have a word of the Hadith that you memorized already. Right? So, yes, you can read the Hadith as a time of ibadah. Have a word every day, but you're not going to be rewarded the same when you memorize the Quran and review the Quran. It's different. So that's the first difference between Hadith Qudsi and Quran. The second difference is Allah has challenged the kuffar and stubborn people to bring about some Quran or to produce something similar to the Quran. But He did not do this with the Hadith Qudsi. So write this down. That's number 2. The second, by the way, this is going to be the question in the test if you want to cheat. Here we go. I'm just going to ask you what are the differences. Mention some number of the differences between Hadith Qudsi and Quran. So number 1, Quran is a form of ibadah, and Hadith Qudsi is not the same. We said in the Quran. And number 2 is Allah did not challenge people with the Hadith Qudsi. He only did this with the Quran. He challenged them to bring about bring about what? 10 surahs. Huh? And what else? An entire Quran. Okay. Number 3, as we mentioned earlier, Al-Quran mahfuz. إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. What surah is this again? Al-Hijr. I'll keep thinking on him because it's Hafid, mashallah. Right? It's great. So, Allah preserved the Quran. Okay, can I tell you, Surah Al-Baqarah is authentic, but Surah Al-A'man is weak? So you're laughing, right? There's no different opinions here. But when it comes to Hadith Qudsi, there's authentic, Sahih, there's good, Hasan, there's Da'if, weak, there's fabricated. People make up Hadith Qudsi, right? So the third difference is the entire Quran is preserved, and the entire Quran is authentically narrated. What do you call this? That when something is authentically narrated, if you tell me the term, you're gonna take extra pizza. Again. Allahu Akbar. So there's extra pizza for this guy. Again. Zafar. Qat'i al-thubut. This is a very important term for you. You need to know what Qat'i al-thubut is. Qat'i al-thubut means authentically narrated, like the Quran. Only the Quran is Qat'i al-thubut. But the Sunnah is not Qat'i al-thubut. The Sunnah is not Dhanni al-thubut. خلاص? So Hadith Qudsi is Dhanni al-thubut. Some of it is Qat'i, but the entire Quran is Qat'i al-thubut. That's the third difference. Fourth difference. Remember when I told you one time to make a research about if you could narrate the hadith by meaning? Remember that? Did you do the research? No, you didn't?
A little bit.
Alhamdulillah. So what did you find?
That you can put a little bit of meaning as in like the Prophet meant this when he said this.
So you could do that in hadith, right? So we have two different opinions, but the strongest opinion is, yes, you could do this. There is something that you should say at the end if you are going to narrate the hadith by meaning, or if you're not very sure about what you're narrating, if you've made a mistake, is to say أو كما قال. أو كما قال. Perhaps I have made a mistake, so أو كما قال. صلى الله عليه وسلم. Just conclude by saying this. Can I narrate the Quran by meaning?
No.
خلاص بقى يعني مش هينفع. I don't do that, right? You don't narrate the Quran by meaning. The translation is not Quran. Can I go to the bathroom with the translation of the Quran in my hand?
Yes.
Yes. Why? Huh? Because this is not Quran. The Quran is only in Arabic. Allah only spoke the Quran in Arabic. English is not Quran. That's the meaning of the Quran according to the translator. But of course, you have to respect this book. But I can touch it if I don't have wudu. I can still touch it if I don't have wudu. I can still read the translation if I don't have wudu or even ghusl. Even ghusl, I have a bit, I'm janaba, hadath akbar. Do you guys know hadath akbar and asghar? You don't know Hadath Akbar and Asghar because you don't know Arabic, it's fine. But we need to learn Tahara, right? Purification. So Hadath Asghar means you need to do wudu. Hadath Asghar, Hadath Akbar is you need to do ghusl after, have an intimacy with your spouse, for example. Or wake up after withdrawing. For example. You have to take a shower before you pray. Like, why am I saying this? Why are you so shy? Why are you talking about that? Because I had some parents, wallahi, I had some parents coming to me and telling me, Sheikh, and he's an Arab father came from a Muslim country. Supposedly his son knows Arabic and he knows the rule at least that when you get up after withdrawing, you should take a shower to be able to pray. He doesn't know. He gets up after withdrawing and he goes to pray. I mean, we need to learn. There's a lot of ignorance. Right? There's no haya in seeking knowledge. We have to learn this. Right? So the Quran cannot be read by meaning. You have to read the exact words. Number 5. Quran could be recited in the prayer. You cannot say, imagine after the Fatiha and the prayer, Ya ibadi inni haramtu dhanna ala al-kasila innamal a'malu binniyat. I cannot do that in the prayer, right? I can't, huh? Like, so the Quran can be recited in the prayer, but Hadith Qudsi cannot be recited in the prayer. Again, number 6, Al-Quran la yamassuhu illa tahir. You have to be tahir to touch the Quran. What is the meaning of tahir? Pure. What is the meaning of pure?
There's two understandings, I think.
Yeah.
One is either Muslim or the other one's a Yahudi.
That's one understanding. Tahir is the Muslim. Because Allah said, إِنَّمَا الْمُشْرِكُونَ نَجَسٌ. What surah is this? Abdullah, help him out, Abdullah. إِنَّمَا الْمُشْرِكُونَ نَجَسٌ. Okay? He's great, mashallah. Don't pick on him. إِنَّمَا الْمُشْرِكُونَ نَجَسٌ. The disbelievers are najas. Najas means? Huh? Impure. This means if I cannot touch the Muslims, then they are dirty. Is that what it means? Guys, please, for Allah's sake, help me out. Because Allah said, إِنَّمَا الْمُشْرِكُونَ نَجَسٌ. You go to school, you have a non-Muslim teacher. Can you go to him and tell him, إِنَّمَا الْمُشْرِكُونَ نَجَسٌ? I mean, we need to solve this, right? You need to answer my question. Would you say that? Non-Muslims are najas means what? What is the meaning of that?
Like spiritually.
Spiritually, like mentally, right? Because if somebody believes that Allah is not one, according to us, that's not pure. That's najas. So it's mentally or spiritually, it is najasa, but it's not physical najasa. Yeah, sometimes they're cleaner than a lot of believers, right? Physically. So that's number 1 meaning. Number 1 meaning is that non-Muslims cannot touch the Quran because only Muslims are tahir. That's 1 meaning. 1 meaning. Okay? Like, what is another meaning? Tahir means what? Because Allah said, لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. You have to be mutahhar to touch the Quran. So you have to be Muslim, number 1. What else? Huh? Wudu. Okay, so you have to be tahir from al-hadath al-asghar. Who's hiding there, guys? Who's that? Huh? I'm Sheikh. So number 2, tahir means tahir from hadath asghar. Hadath asghar means somebody passed the gas, somebody slipped. He needs to take a shower. I mean, he needs to do wudu to be able to pray. That's hadath asghar. So tahir. Another meaning of tahir is what? Third meaning of tahir is what? Janaba. Hadath akbar. After we said hadath akbar, after wet dream or intimacy. You have to take a shower to be tahir to touch the Quran. The 4th meaning, So, out of these 3 meanings, after we mentioned these 3 meanings and opinions, can I touch the Quran if I am not on wudu? There's no janaba. I don't need to take a shower. There's no hadath akbar. But this hadath asghar, I need to do wudu. Do I have to do wudu to touch the Quran? Can I touch the Quran without doing wudu? If you say yes, I can touch and read the Quran without wudu, raise your hands. So, who? 1, I can. 2, 3, 4. Who else? Okay. 5. The minority are the strongest opinion. And that's actually the opinion of Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Qayyim. The four Imams, Sayyidina Abu Hanifa, Sayyidina Malik, Sayyidina Shafi'i, Sayyidina Ahmad, all of them say you cannot touch the Quran without wudu. Do you see that? You can't touch the Quran without wudu. Out of respect. But Ibn Qayyim and Ibn Taymiyyah, they brought up some other evidences and they say no. Allah, when He said, لَا يَمَسُّهُ إِلَّا الْمُطَهَّرُونَ, He meant the angels and al-mutahharun, not human beings. So we have two different opinions here. Let's not fight. Now.
So I think the contradiction also comes up because, for example, there's Quran. You have like your phone. You have the Quran on your phone. So do you need wudu to touch your?
Of course not. That's not Quran. That's a phone, because the phone has photos in it. Sometimes these photos are decent, sometimes indecent. So the Quran, I have a Quran app on my phone. Do I have to close the app to go to the bathroom? Please, for God's sake. I mean, out of respect, do this. One of our teachers, one time, somebody gave him this question. He said, Sheikh, I will say that. He said, I just love, I'm used to listen to the Quran while I'm in the bathroom. Is this haram? Huh? It's not haram, but it's very disrespectful. Like you didn't find any other place to listen to Quran except when you're doing this? Very disrespectful. But he did not say it's haram because he doesn't have an evidence. Somebody's listening to the Quran while he's in the bathroom. There's no haram here. So I can be in the bathroom and somebody outside is playing the Quran and I'm hearing it inside. What should I do in this case? If it's haram? Somebody raise his hand.
But you can't recite in the bathroom, right?
No, you cannot recite in the bathroom. No, of course. Absolutely 100% you cannot recite the Quran in the bathroom. Sheikh Ibn Shawi was addicted to recite the Quran. So he used to recite the Quran in the bathroom. You know who that is? Sheikh Muhammad Siddiq al-Minshawi. David, what are you doing? Okay. Sheikh Muhammad Siddiq al-Minshawi is that called. Sheikh Muhammad Siddiq al-Minshawi. Sheikh Muhammad Siddiq al-Minshawi, if you want to record the Quran, you can record it in 1 month, in 2 weeks. Sheikh Muhammad Siddiq al-Minshawi, he stayed for many years because he couldn't read, because he cries too much. Every time they want to record, he starts crying. Okay, let him stop crying first. Look at the khushu' this guy, rahimahullah wa radiya anhu. And he was so addicted to the Quran that when he goes to the bathroom, he recites the Quran in the bathroom. He's struggling to stop reciting. Had beautiful voice. Right? SubhanAllah. But of course you cannot recite the Quran. Absolutely, he forced himself to stop. So لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. What is the meaning? Some people will tell you, you can't even touch the Quran if you're in janaba. If you need to take a shower, touch the Quran. That's it, they leave it. No.
Can you recite the Quran before your mind and sleep with janaba?
Yeah. The Zahiriyya and Ibn Ibn Qayyim all would allow this because there is no clear evidence. What is al-mutahharun? It could be the angels according to some opinions. But the most respectful opinion is to do wudu before you start the Quran. And another sunnah is to face the Qibla and to sit down and to use the siwak before starting the Quran. And to wear something tahir. And to sit in a place that's tahir. And to have quietness around you. All these are sunnah, recommended actions. But if you don't do them, is that haram? No, that's what we're talking about here. Okay? Don't get confused.
Does using a regular toothbrush count as miswak?
Yeah, sure. But are you gonna carry this around? No. Like imagine if you're standing behind me and you have a toothbrush before the prayer. That's not gonna sound normal. But people having this right before the prayer, okay, whatever. That's normal. Huh?
Is there a difference for like women on their menses?
difference between what?
Like you said, Janaba, so they're conforming with purity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say, but is there a difference for women? Like
You mean women can be differences and they also read the Quran? That's according to Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn Taymiyyah has gone so far in this. But that's an opinion. I cannot hide it from you. Because you will find it online. Number 7. Again, the seventh opinion is the Quran cannot be recited by someone in the state of janaba. And look at this, look at this. And then Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, because we know he's Hanbali. He said this. على القول الراجح. That's the strongest opinion. Yes, I know, according to you. Thank you. According to you, the junub cannot read the Quran. I get it. But there are other opinions. With all due respect and love, there are other opinions, right? Number 8. That the Quran, all the Quran is mutawatir qat'i, qat'i thubut, as we mentioned, but which means if somebody denies a hadith qudsi, if you bring him a hadith qudsi and he tells you it's weak, you tell him no, and Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal said it's authentic, and he tells you no, ya Habibi, Ibn Hibban said it's weak, Al-Dhahabi said it's weak, Al-Albani said it's weak, so we can have different opinions, but I cannot recite Surah Qul Huwallahu Ahad and you tell me Al-Albani said it's weak. So if somebody denies one letter from the Quran, that's an action of what? Kufr. Somebody denied one letter of the Quran, that's an action of kufr. Can I tell him you're a kafir? No, it's an action of kufr. We need to sit with him and tell him, Ya Habibi, the entire Quran is qat'i thubut. If you deny one letter, you're a kafir. Happy? No, I'm not happy. Astaghfirullah. Not happy. That he did something wrong. Don't be fast in making takfir. I think we can stop here. Yeah, I will stop here, inshallah. I don't think there is anything unique to mention in this hadith. Because everything here I have talked about before in other khutbahs and halaqat. Yeah. Okay. Unless you guys have questions, just look through the hadith, please, and tell me if you have questions. The translation is enough, really. If you the translation and you understand something, then so I can just comment on it. Because the main point I want you to learn today is the difference between Quran and Hadith. Hadith is really easy. You could talk about it until Fajr, but it's easy. Yeah.
You explained that just the last part, وَمَنْ وَجَدَ غَيْرَ ذَلِكَ فَلَا يَلُومَنَّ إِلَّا نَفْسَهُ.
فَمَنْ وَجَدَ خَيْرًا فَلْيَحْمَدِ اللَّهَ. If you find the consequences of your actions are clear, so thank Allah for this because He accepted your good deeds and He is rewarding you now. But if you find something else which is the punishment, the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do not believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because these are the consequences of your actions. فَلَا يَلُومَنَّ إِلَّا نَفْسَهُ. These are the consequences of your actions, so blame yourself. Don't blame anybody else. Only blame yourself. Lawm is blame. So the meaning is easier with hadith. But again, we can talk about this hadith for really too long, which I don't want to be doing in this class to not waste your time, so we can catch it up in the course, inshallah. Are you guys good now? So we're going to go to pizza, right? Look, I have to go because I have family commitments. But again, I'm at the masjid every day between 11 and 2 p.m. 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. including Saturday, inshallah ta'ala. Except Sunday and Friday. Except Sunday and Friday. You can always come and call and do whatever you like, but just tell me if you're coming. But now I really have to go because I have some family commitments, or else I will be kicked out of my house. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Who's gonna get the pizza to be organized here? Harris? I wish you somebody else. Someone else. تفضل يا أحمد, please. And Ashraf, would you help with that? And Rafi, would you help with that? Okay, so Ashraf and Rafi and Ahmed Sal are going to help with the pizza. Guys, please remain seated or just make sure you don't drop anything in the masjid. Okay? Please don't drop anything. Clean after yourselves. I have to go. Yeah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت. السلام عليكم.